Hello everyone, welcome to the webinar. In today's webinar we're going to see some quick transformations, table and data transformations. So we'll start with a table transformation. So let's take this as an example. This is a common example of the reports which we receive from our regular reporting teams and various forms of reports where we have data for various months in different columns. Now the challenge with this report, this type of report or data table format is that it's not user friendly. We cannot do much of any calculations here or perform any analysis or run pivots for that matter. But if we have received data in this format where I can apply multiple filters based on month, then my job is become less tedious. It is more easy to do all those filtration, and then I can apply pivots on that. Or maybe in this structure where each category has a separate column, but date is in or the month is in one separate column. So let's see how we can use Power Query to quickly transform this table structure to this. So it's fairly simple. So let's this is our test data set. So we'll load this to Power Query. So with any cell selected within the table, we will go to data, and then from table or range, it will first convert the data into our Excel table, and then it will load it to Power Query. So now my table has loaded into Power Query. Also my objective is, the first objective is that for each month there is a separate column for the month, and then another column for the subsequent values for the month. So with this column selected, what we need is we want to unpivot other columns. So with this column selected, what we'll do is right click and unpivot other columns. % of job is done. Now we have to do is just format this column. Right now it's text, so we'll select it and we'll transform it to date, and we can rename this as month, and we can rename this as a head count. So now when we close and load, so in quick 3 steps, we have transformed data from this structure to this structure. Let's quickly perform another transformation. So I'll go back to my Power Query. So double click that. Let's duplicate this. I want this output as well, and I want another output. So let's duplicate this query. So I'll right click and duplicate, and let's rename it table headcount table pivot. It's a good practice that we should rename our queries and give it a relevant name. So right, coming back to this. So now what we need is, for each designation there is a separate column and then subsequent headcounts under it, and then one column for month. So we have to pivot this column. So with this column selected, I'll go to transform and I'll click on pivot column. Now I have to select the column which has some values, so which is a head count. So I'll select head count, and under advanced option I will say don't aggregate. Right now our objective is not to do any aggregation, so let's select don't aggregate and click OK, and that is it. My table has been quickly transformed in that structure. So I again close and load to, and I'll load to a table, new worksheet. Okay. So in 3 simple steps, I have transformed data from this format or this structure to this, which is unpivot, and then with a combination of unpivot and pivot, I have quickly transformed into the structure. So this way I can use this in various data modeling. This type of table structure is fairly supported, but not this. So that's on pivot and unpivot, and next segment we'll see how to do date transformations.